to North Mississippi Game Day podcast. I'm Ronnie Williams, joined by Josh Guest, and we're ready for another exciting episode here from Charter Road Hospitality in Oxford, Mississippi. Another big week, Josh.
Yes, Ronnie, and football's wrapping up. The 1A through 4A finished their regular season, headed into the playoffs, first round this week, and 5, 6, and 7A will finish their regular season up this week and head in the following week into the playoffs. And some other things happening too.
That's right. Cross country just wrapped up. Golf just wrapped up. A lot of stuff starting to tip off and kick off this week as we get ready for the second half of the fall sports season. So we got a special guest coming up that we'll introduce you to when we come back, and we'll be right back with more North Mississippi Game Day right after this. Welcome back to North Mississippi Game Day podcast. I'm Ronnie Williams, joined by Josh Guest, and as you see, a special guest here with us tonight, the head coach of the Falkner Eagles, Mr. Ben Ashland.
Hey guys.
Good to have you here, Coach.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Good to be here. Appreciate y'all having me.
We got to spend some time together for a few years locally here in Oxford at Lafayette High School, but now head coach of the Eagle. Second go round.
That's
right?
correct. Yes, sir. I was the head football coach at Falkner in 2011 and 2012.
Okay. So this season, coming back for your first year back, started 1-4. So didn't start out the way you were wanting it to, I'm sure.
Well, you know, when I took this job, I knew that there would be some growing pains early. Last year's team had 10 seniors, and in 1A football, when you graduate 10 seniors and 7 starters on both sides of the ball, it can be a little daunting, but especially considering who we had to play early, you know, and I knew 0-3 was a real possibility. I knew it was a possibility. Obviously, I didn't want it to happen,
right,
but it did happen. So just a tribute to our kids, you know, not giving up and continuing to show up and get better. So.
Absolutely did, because you bounced back. You went 5-4, 3-0 in the region, and just won another region championship.
Yeah. It's been a good fun ride the last couple of weeks. You know, that was kind of one of the things we talked about. It's been since 1988 that a senior class at Falkner has won multiple division championships. So our senior class, I'm really proud of them, and our juniors too, because they were part of that last one as freshmen. But you know, it's just been a fun year.
Yeah, I went back and looked, and I think since 2010, you guys won 4 division titles, and 3 of those were yours.
Well, no, I don't know what the tally is. I do know that they won in 2023 when Kevin Walton was in charge, and in 2011 we kind of shared it with the team. So,
okay.
But so really and truly, at three since 2010 or so. But yeah, I mean I don't know. I mean you know, like I said, it's been a fun year.
Okay.
It was rough early, but we're kind of playing our best football right now.
And so, what about standout players this year? What about players that have kind of stepped up to the plate for you this season and that kind of thing?
Well, I got 4 seniors I'm really proud of. Anthony Morgan's kind of a bell cow. He's our running back. He's got 28 touchdowns. He's got over 2,000 total yards. And then I got a lineman by the name of Coley Stroop. And Coley is the perfect high school lineman. You know, we've played 9 games. He started 2 at tight end, 1 at tackle, 1 at center, and 4 at guard, if the math works out. So just a really good high school football player, and arguably our best defensive lineman too. And then I got a guy named Sean Wilbanks who plays on both sides of the ball for me on the line of scrimmage. And then I got a guy named Graydon Newby. He's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. He can do a little bit of everything for me. Then I got a couple of kids that are also seniors. They're going to graduate early. Malachi Nunley is a receiver DB, and then Logan Woolley is an offensive line D-line. Those 6 guys kind of lead our team, and they've been really good for us this year. So, but I mean, there's lots of kids that are contributing. Those are just kind of the older ones that are really doing a good job for me.
One of the things I noticed when I was kind of looking at your schedule today, all but one team that you played this year is in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a rough schedule.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things about Falkner going 16-6 the last 2 years and reviving that program under Kevin Walton, when you win 16 games, you have to schedule differently. People all of a sudden that you got to play after going 3-25 over the previous 3 years, all of a sudden those people don't want to play anymore. And so we had to open the season with Myrtle, really good football team, and then Oklahoma, and then Bruce. I mean, that's 3 pretty good football teams. 2 of them are 2A. And anytime you step up a classification in 1A football, it's tough, you know. So if I remember right, I looked the other day, there's 37 1A teams, only maybe 15 of them have a winning record.
Yeah.
Just because every week, if you're 1A, you have to play up. You know, and likewise in 7A, I went and looked at 7A. Of the 24, I think 15 of those have a winning record because they're always getting to play down. So it just is what it is. It's part of it.
I was doing a lot of putting stuff together for the playoffs, and I noticed like Holly Springs 0-8, 0-9, and they're in the playoffs just because there's only 4 teams in the region. So that happens a lot. But your opponent this Friday night, it's Friday night, so it'll be Thrasher, a team that you played earlier in the season.
Right. We played Thrasher a good while ago. That's probably been 6 weeks ago. That was our first win. And Thomas Jameson is the head football coach over there. And he was at Falkner last spring when I got hired on. He was the O-line coach, and he left to go over there to take that job. He's doing a wonderful job. I mean, I know that looking at it on paper, it doesn't appear that way, but they have really struggled with their numbers. And when they came to us back in September, I'm going to say they had like 15 kids. And he's doing a great job because he's holding that thing together. We played him in junior high. He's got like 35 boys in that program, 7th through 11th grade, that if they'll just kind of stick together, he can build them something over there. But they've kind of had a tough year for sure.
So one of the things that we see, because we get to do 5A football every Friday night, and even for the team we call for, the Fayette, we see a lot of 2A players. And I know you mentioned it when you listed those seniors out. And with 1A, I would expect the size. That's also an issue. You have a lot of guys playing on both sides of the football. Is that pretty standard? Is it pretty much everybody on the team?
Absolutely. I mean, since I've gotten there, I've told our kids since day one, in order for us to be as good as we want to be and to get it done, it's going to take every single one of us. And you always have to be ready. I've got 5-6 guys that go both ways, but just to give you an example, Friday night we're playing Thursday night, last week at Potts Camp, and I got a backup linebacker standing there, and all of a sudden, Braden Newby goes down, and this kid's got to go play. He's a 10th grader. He hadn't played a whole lot, but he got to play 4 or 5 snaps just like that. You just got to be ready. And it's like that at every level. Obviously, you always have to be ready, but it's magnified at the 1A level. It just is because you got so many people doing so many different things.
Well, I would think too, it's magnified when you have, as you said, some people do different things, but also playing both ways.
Right.
Because even if they're healthy, at some points, a kid, even an 11th grader who's in good shape, is going to need a break.
That's
correct.
correct.
Just a play or two off, just to let somebody go in there and get a snap or two, just to let him catch his breath.
Yes, I mean that's the biggest thing. Is early in the year we fought cramps, obviously, and that probably cost us early in the year against Myrtle. That was a good football game. We were winning that football game 12-7 in the 4th quarter. We ended up getting beat 29-12. We just ran out of gas, man. And I think Myrtle dresses 45 kids. That night I think we took 27. It's just it's a numbers game. But you just always got to be ready, and our kids do a good job of that. They really do.
Let's talk about one of those kids. Your quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
And so quarterback is your son, Nolan. Just kind of looking at some stats, 77 for 120 for 961 yards passing. Josh and I both coached our kids in baseball. How is it to coach your son at the high school football?
It's been a lot of fun. To be honest, I get to do something every single day. We hop in the truck every morning at 6:10, and we get on the campus at Falkner around 7 o'clock. I get to spend an hour one way driving to Falkner and an hour back, and with my kid every single day. To me, that's the best part. I know that sounds crazy, but one of these days, he and I both will want that back. But it's been fun to watch him mature and grow. The best part about it is that Jesse Nelson is my offensive coordinator, and he gets to coach Nolan. And so Nolan and I, the relationship is still that I'm dad. Now I am the coach, but because I'm not doing the offense, I don't. I learned that from Michael. When I was at Lafayette, he brought in Will Wolf to coach Charlie, and And I'll never forget him saying that. The biggest reason for that is because he wanted that relationship with him and Charlie to always be father and son. And so that's kind of why he did that, and it always stuck with me. And thankfully, when I got to Falkner, Jesse was there, Coach Nelson was there, and he's a really good football coach, and I thought I'd be crazy to not let him have it for a lot of different reasons. But just the growth I've seen in Nolan. You know, we beat Smithville right before our fall break. We were 1-4, and man, we were down 13-0 at half in that game, and he threw 2 pick sixes in that game. And he ended up throwing after the second pick six. After that second pick six, he threw for over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he came off that second time when he threw that last interception almost in tears.
Yeah.
I mean, he was so mad at himself. It was almost a hyperventilation. He was ready to punch something, you know. And but after that, he just kind of caught his breath and went back out there and started making some plays. So
well, I remember him from, I guess, the middle school days when he was playing baseball, and I got to see him play a lot of baseball at Tupelo. I think he was playing with the Rangers.
That's right, yeah.
So we'd see him over there, but I know he's grown up. But you were just, and I don't know if you want to share this, I'll ask you, but you were just talking about a game that you guys were playing in. You scored, you got a turnover, and you asked him a question.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we go to H.W. Byers 2 weeks ago, and they're probably the second best team in our division, and we knew we had to start fast, so we scored early, make it 7-0, and we get a turnover, and immediately asked him, you know, like you do you want to take a shot right here? After a turnover on that side of the field, you throw a fade ball, just try to score quick. And he said, no, I don't want to take a shot. I want to hand it to our running back.
Yeah.
Let's give it to Fat, and let's go score, and let's get a 2-touchdown lead, and let's go win the division, you know. So that's kind of where his mind's at right now. He you know, numbers are cool, but he realizes he's a 9th grader and he's got to roll.
Yeah. Because I just asked you, I said he's got 961 yards. I said we're going to get him over 1,000, right?
Surely we can, you know. I mean, that's one completion.
Yeah.
So, and that'll be fun and cool and all that. But you know, at the end of the day, I'm an old offensive lineman, and I didn't really have a lot of stats. My only stats I ever had was wins and losses. So,
Did you get holds?
I held a few times. Yeah. One night I had to block a guy named Jason Ferguson. I think he spent 14 years in the NFL. Yeah. I got real familiar with his ankles because I was grabbing them every play. So.
Well, you had mentioned to us earlier the touchdown record at Falkner is held by who?
Pig Prather.
Yes.
Yeah. In 1997, he scored 29 times.
And you mentioned that one of your guys has how many?
Yeah, Anthony's got 28. Anthony
28.
Morgan. He's sitting at 28 touchdowns. He's got 23 rushing, and he's got 3 kickoff returns and 2 on defense. So I don't know. You know, we're just 1 play away from tying it and 2 plays away from breaking it. So maybe we'll get that Friday night.
But it sounds like the mindset of your team, starting with your quarterback, is that rather than breaking a record, y'all want to win a game.
You know, it's crazy you mentioned that because last Friday night we're at Potts Camp, and I'm talking to Anthony about, you know, I need you to go score, and he's like, he wanted to get the ball to somebody else, and I told him, I said, man, I don't want to bring it up, Anthony, but we're really close to breaking a touchdown record. And he said, Coach, I don't care about that. I just want to win, you know. So
awesome.
yeah, I mean, I thought that was pretty good too.
It is. I mean, in this world, you got the social media, you got all these people, me, and they want to post all these things and do all these things for themselves. But I don't know. I enjoy hearing that because it is a team sport, and I love it when it's about the team over the self. And so that's a great thing to hear from some of your guys on your team there.
Yeah, we got some special kids, no doubt about it. I mean, and that's one of the things that I missed about small school football, you know, is the fact that these kids are, our little community, and these kids are, I mean, they're forced into being really tight-knit just because there's not a whole lot of them, you know. I don't know, it's always just stuck out to me the time I spent at Falkner, the first time I was there, how close those kids were, you know, and nothing's changed.
Would you say, so, you know, you spent some time at Lafayette, which is where we're familiar with where our boys go, and so that was 5A, and this is 1A. What would you say is maybe the biggest difference outside of the number of kids? Is it that close-knitness? Is there something else that maybe the biggest difference between the 1A versus the 5A?
Well, I don't necessarily know about a locker room, but I'm talking about in a community in general. I didn't understand this in 2009. When the tornado came through, do y'all remember the tornado that came through that got East Webster and Smithville? No, it was actually 2011. And that spring in 2011, East Webster got blown away, and my wife is an East Webster graduate. And she shed tears over that. And it blew me away that a grown woman would be tore up that her high school got blown away. Well, fast forward that fall, I'm coaching at Falkner High School, and it made sense to me then, because those people are passionate about their school in those little small places like that. So that's the biggest thing. But with that being said, Lafayette County is a unique place because those people love their Commodores. I always thought Lafayette was really cool because our kids ain't from Oxford. They're from little places like Harmontown and Burgess and all these little communities, Philadelphia, and all these little neat little communities. So there's a lot of that in Lafayette County too. Which, and I'll say this, I taught all y'all's kids. I taught both of yours, and I taught yours. And my granddad used to say, you can tell a lot about a man by the way his children act. So I just want y'all to know, y'all did a heck of a job raising your kids.
I didn't know about to come out.
Yeah, no, I was ready to apologize.
Yes.
No, sir, absolutely not. I had all the kids in Coach Ashley's personal leadership class, or I think I had Gracie in like a psychology class or something. But y'all got wonderful kids. I know that's beside the point, but I thought I'd bring it up.
Brett looked forward to that class.
Yes, Heather did too, and Gracie too as well. And you mentioned that about Lafayette. It's one of the things I've noticed. There's a gentleman in the community that works at a business that I utilize for my vehicle, and every time I go in, he's talking to me about Lafayette football.
Oh yeah.
And doesn't have a kid in the game, in a long time, but goes almost every Friday night. And so, it's just invested in, and the people that went there. And I only went 1 year there, way long time ago. But I still see that special kind of bond because we're the county.
That's it.
So
that is it,
it's
man.
a little different feel.
It is a special place. I'm telling you, the 5 years that I got to be there are some of the most special in my career.
I grew up about 3 blocks off the squares. I went to Oxford, married a Lafayette girl, moved to Abbeville. All 3 of my kids have gone through Lafayette. Of course, I feel like I'm a Commodore. I've been out there for so long doing games. And, just the opportunity to, when you're in Walmart or Kroger or Larson's or somewhere, and somebody says, "Hey man, that's a good game tonight," and 20 minutes later, my wife's like looking at her watch, going, "Hey, we gotta go."
Yeah,
That's how this community is.
I was in Walmart yesterday. I Uber. I do a lot of Ubering. Yesterday was game day, and when I need a break, I go to Walmart. I just do a little walking, and I saw Jay Reed in there.
Oh, yeah.
And I hadn't seen Jay since I left Lafayette, and I got to catch up with him. And those kids are special because there's a lot of places I've coached when I see a former player that don't even know I was on live. Yeah. But not Lafayette kids. Yeah. It is a special place.
Well, kind of changing subjects. We don't talk a lot of college sports here. I know you're a Mississippi State guy.
I am.
So, for good reason.
Right.
So, what years were you there?
I was the backup long snapper in 1998.
Okay, but you got in a game. Right?
I played in 4 games. Yeah. That's a story now. That's a story. But I was the long snapper for the first 4 games in 1998 because the starter got hurt the very first punt of the year against Vandy in the 98 opener, and we held. So immediately he's hurt. He's on the field down there on the turf, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, is that Bender? Is Bender hurt? Am I not his backup? Am I going to have to play? So, I'm a Bulldog.
So yesterday they picked up their first SEC win in 2 years.
Yeah.
What do you think the direction of the team is with the current coaching staff?
I don't really want to talk about coaching. I'm not here. I'm not going to ever do that. But I just will say that it is. It's been fun to watch the improvement. That we've had. I'm just like everybody else. I feel like we ought to be 8-1 at worst. But it's easy to say that. Yeah. And also think about where we were at last year. Yeah. Last year we couldn't stop the run, and we couldn't protect our quarterback, and I don't know. It's just we're in ball games,
And that's the thing I was going to say. You've been in a lot.
That's it. We're back in ball games, so that they're at least fun to watch again.
Well, when I found out you were coming on, I was like, I got to bring up the win because it's the first time in 2 years.
That's right.
And
we've been through those stretches before, just like Ole Miss has. I was a Rebel for a long time. Yeah. Until Jackie Sherrill walked into our home in 1992 and sold my brother Bird on this dream of being a Bulldog. And my brother went down there and played guard, and I followed suit later. But we were Rebels, man. Todd Sandroni's my first cousin. He's on the All-Century team, so we were there for every home game for 5 or 6 years. So, but it just is what it is. It's a rough league. It is a rough league, and you're about 10 minutes away from any point in time disaster striking. I just, I think about the current state of college athletics, man. It is an unsustainable pattern and model right now. I don't know what the fix is, but I do know this: if you're asking taxpayers to buy out coaches, that's a problem.
Yeah, and that's crazy. I mean, we just had another one this morning let go. Hugh Freeze at Auburn let go, and that's a $15 million. I think I read somewhere that 8 coaches been let go. It's almost $200 million.
Yeah. Somebody asked me this morning at church what the buyout was for a high school coach, and they weren't prepared for my answer because I've been let go, and I had to make 30 house payments on a house I didn't get to live in anymore. So it looks a little different at our level, but those guys, I don't know, man. I don't know the answer, but I do know that that's a lot of money for a guy not to be there doing a job that I guess you paid him to do. So.
Well, give us a fun fact about Ben Ashland.
Oh, a fun fact: I have the best coach's wife in the history of planet Earth, and the best mama that's ever lived. There's 2 fun facts. Yeah.
I remember telling your wife happy birthday on the PA one.
Oh yeah. Lucy, my wife's been in 25 houses. We've been married for, I don't know. We got married in 2001, so do the math. This
is a bad guy, man.
So in August it'll be 25 years. So, but she's been in 25 houses. So I got a good wife, and she understands the deal, and very blessed to have her. And I got a good mama too. So.
Well, one thing that I think is interesting, you're a bit of a high school football historian.
I am. Yeah, I've done some of that. I just put a book out last year, A Matter of Pride, A History of Pontotoc Warrior Football. I started on that book in 1997. And actually, when COVID hit, that thing was in a almost unretrievable state. I had this old desktop computer sitting in a closet in 2020 when COVID hit, and I was really bored after about 3 weeks of not getting to go back to school. And I plugged that thing up, and there it was. And I was like, I better do something about this, or I'm gonna lose it. And so that's when I sat down and finished that thing because I had a lot of free time and kind of updated it to a more modern state. And I don't know, really kind of reinvested because I started coaching in 1999. I kind of put it away. I got busy, and this year is the 100th season of Warrior football. So we put it out this year, raised about $8,000 for Pontotoc Warrior football.
Wow.
So
not bad, because I know I gave you a bunch of videos for a fan.
And I still got them.
I've done back, I don't know what years they were,
right,
because I've been doing it so long. And
there's some 04, 05, 06 stuff in there, all those films.
So I knew there's some old stuff in there, and I hope you get to use that eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess one of the things that I like about you is no matter where you're at, you're still a Pontotoc Warrior.
Oh, always. I'll always be a Warrior, for sure.
And so we get to go to the Hollow Friday night.
Thursday night, yeah. Because I'm planning on going.
Yeah. So you know much about Pontotoc football this year?
So last Thursday night, after we beat H.W. Byers, I don't know what was going on, but both of my kids were not in my house.
Yeah.
And one of them, I think, went rolling yards. The other one went to the North Pontotoc game. My daughter still goes to North Pontotoc. So I looked at my wife, and I said, they were playing New Hope. Pontotoc was playing New Hope. I said, I want to go look at the new stadium. I said, but I promise we'll leave after the first quarter.
Yeah.
And so we went and sat down and watched the first quarter of Pontotoc and New Hope. So I've seen them. But then I took her to a restaurant in Tupelo, and we went and got something to eat. But I've seen them. I think it'll be a good football game.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Lafayette in person, but I watched them on NFHS Network against Caledonia. I was telling you, because I like flex bone football, and both of those teams were doing it and running that flex bone, and that was a good football game.
Yeah, it was.
So I think Thursday night will be a good football game.
I think it will, and playoffs. Both of us are in the playoffs. We're just playing for seeding. I was looking at, and I don't know if you've even paid attention, but whoever we match up with in Region 2, I think the first place is settled. Everything else is going down to this last week. So there's a lot of different regions that in 5, 6, and 7 that are settled. Ours in Region 2 is not. But yours is settled. You guys start Thursday night.
Yeah, well,
Friday night.
We'll play
I'm
Friday.
Thursday, you're Friday.
Yeah, that's right.
So Thrasher, it's at Falkner.
Thrasher at Falkner, 7 o'clock. Yeah, and we played them earlier in the year, like we were talking about earlier. But if we win that one, then we'll catch the winner of Oklahoma versus West Tallahatchie. And we've already played Oklahoma this year too.
Yeah.
So familiar with, possibly both first two opponents. So we'll just see how it
Well,
goes.
an interesting fact about me is I lost part of one of my front teeth on the old West Tallahatchie schoolyard.
Okay.
Where my parents both went to school, and my grandparents lived in Sumner, and I was over there, and I slipped and hit my mouth on a trapeze bar on the swing set in the old elementary yard, or schoolyard, and lost part of my tooth there. So that's a West Tallahatchie story for me. So 1A through 4A finished up their regular season last week, right? That's why y'all were on Thursday last week and playoffs Friday, and then we're all Thursday this week, 5, 6, and 7. I say we because we do 5A, but 5, 6, and 7 on Thursday this week because it's our last regular season. But y'all again first weekend of the playoffs. Is that how many rounds is 1A?
5. It is brutal.
Wow.
It is 5 rounds of 1A playoffs is absolutely brutal. It's brutal, in big school ball. But when you're talking about 1A football, again, it goes back to the fact if I lose one person, everything shuffles. I've been fortunate enough to be a part of some state championships, and in 2007 at South Panola, we were just kind of better than everybody. It was in the middle of that 89-game winning streak. But I think about the 2016 team, Lafayette, really good football team. That team had what you call chemistry. They played so well together, but we were healthy. We were healthy all year long, and that's the biggest thing is being healthy. And a lot of times things get derailed if the right person gets hurt. So it's just brutal. 5 rounds is tough.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Coach, we really appreciate you coming by and spending some time with us. I know a lot of people out there know you from around the area here. We're pulling for you. I can't say that out loud, but I guess I just did.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate
we're pulling for you guys, and we're going to keep up with you. And as you get into the next round or two, we definitely want to maybe do some FaceTime or something. Once we figure out how to do all this fancy podcasts and stuff we were talking about. Yeah. But I do want to say one thing. I saw something on, was it Facebook or Twitter? You got a little ad for a hamburger joint. Tell us about that before we get out of here.
Well, there's a Jack's commercial with Kellen DeBoer and Hugh Freeze, and I guess Jack's came to our district and approached us about doing one like that with me and John Meeks at Walnut. Yeah. And so we did a little commercial, and it's out there on social media. It's not going to be on the TV, I don't imagine, but I do know this: I wouldn't make it as an actor. I had to repeat the same lines over and over and over, and I don't know. That seems silly to me. But people do that for a living, and they get paid for it. And but anyway, I couldn't do it. I don't have the patience for it.
Josh and I do it all the time, and we don't even stop. We just keep going. We make so many mistakes, we just keep going. But we've enjoyed it, man. I appreciate you coming over.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me.
And doing this, and we look forward to following you through the playoffs and seeing you around baseball season.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
So we'll be back with more of North Mississippi Game Day podcast right after this. North Mississippi Game Day, and man, what a guest Coach Ben Ashley is. Just full of knowledge, known the guy for a few years, and a great human being as well as a football coach.
Absolutely, and as he mentioned, had our kids, and they definitely enjoyed his class for sure. Both of mine did, I know. So.
Oh yeah, I know Brett was that was one of his favorite classes, and Coach Ashley's always been one of my favorite guys. We always get to talk football together and baseball when we see each other. So. But speaking of football, this past Friday night and Thursday night, we had a lot of football action going on. As you said a little earlier, 1 through 4 wrapped up the regular season on Thursday night. We went into, I guess it's our next to last week this past Friday night with 5A, 6A, and 7A. This week it kind of turns around. 5A, 6A, 7A play Thursday, and then the 1 through 4 playoffs first round starts on Friday night. But some interesting games around the area that of course, you and I had Lafayette and Caledonia. Lafayette won that one 42-19. Started out a pretty good game as Caledonia took 10.5 minutes on that first drive to score and go up 7-0.
They did, and you know, we talked about it on there. It was like two different games. The first half was 14-7.
Yeah.
Now the Doors did score in a minute 15 or 1 minute and 8 seconds or something right after that, but still it was a 14-7 game going into the second half, and even at one point was maybe within a touchdown, and the Doors scored several late times there to pull away at the end. But and there was a whole lot of fast scoring in the second half. There were no 10.5 minute drives.
No.
So
I think 42-19 was the final score of that one. And then Madison Central, man, what a game with Starkville. Two powerhouse teams in the state. It comes down to a last-second field goal. Madison Central picked up a win.
yeah, 38-35. So just a good one there in 7A ball in North Mississippi there. And so another one of our region games, Pontotoc and Columbus, and we believe Pontotoc jumped out to a 28-0 lead, and it ended up 28-20. So Columbus clawing back and making it a close game by the end, but Pontotoc punched their ticket to the playoffs with that victory, and so they won 28-20 over the Columbus Falcons.
Yeah, it was kind of all over the place when we were getting scores. We were getting different scores. We were reaching out to people trying to get scores, and never could get a correct score, and we finally saw that one. It wound up 28-20.
And then Clarksdale and Roosevelt over in the Delta had a nail biter over there, 32-30. Clarksdale winning by 2 points there. Don't know exactly how it played out in the end, but Clarksdale just one of those perennial powerhouses in football, and picking up a 2-point win versus Roosevelt.
Yeah, a few years ago, if you had told me Roosevelt had hung with Clarksdale like that, I would not have believed you. But of course, you know, a lot of things happen in high school football, and you get some close scores, and Clarksdale did hang on to win that one. Another big one in our area in 4A was Corinth and New Albany, two teams that had played each other a lot. It came down toward the end, and Corinth pulls away with a 26-24 win and wins the region.
Yeah, so big win there for them. I mean, New Albany has had it rolling this year, and Corinth, although you know they have as well, and they have that guy that we had
Pat
spotlight the other day, 10 carries for 401 yards and 8 touchdowns, or something like that one week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what an outstanding play. Of course, Coach Ashley had a big 50-27 win over Potsdam.
Yeah, putting up a 50 spot there for the Falkner Eagles.
Yeah.
So
Strayhorn Bruce, 32-28. Strayhorn wins that one. Bruce did not make the playoffs. They finished 6-4 this year with a winning record, as opposed to some teams that are in the playoffs with losing records. Bruce has a winning record, but overall in their division, didn't finish in the top 4.
So didn't make it to postseason play, the Bruce Trojans. And you talked about crazy things happening in high school football, and you just never know. Hamilton, I believe it was something like a 25-point lead they blew against Hatley. And so Hamilton, though, 53-52, defense optional, and lots of points scored there, 105 total. Hamilton 53-52 over Hatley after giving up the big lead. They held on for the victory.
Yeah, it's crazy. You blow a 25-point lead, you have to hang on in a shootout like that to get the win. And of course, this week, Commodores are on the road to Pontotoc, and that'll be for seeding. We're looking for the 3rd and 4th place seeds. Of course, West Point, #1 team in the state, is going to wrap up the division in Lafayette's division. New Hope will come in at 2nd, and then Pontotoc and Lafayette both in, just playing for some seeding there.
I think West Point, I don't remember the score exactly, 35-38-7, something like that on New Hope. And so that was both teams, I believe, winning that game undefeated in the region.
They
right?
did. Yeah.
And so West Point doing #1 things, as we saw them do #1 things when we called the game as well too. And you know, West Point like #1 in the state overall, you know, not 5A. So West Point
4A region.
Yeah.
And the region that Lafayette, New Hope, West Point, all of those guys are matching up with, Region 2. I was trying to figure it out today. I'm not a math major like you, and I don't think I got it figured out. I know Cleveland Central is probably going to win that division. I think they have most of the tiebreakers unless they lose. I think they have Provine maybe this week. So unless they lose and get upset, but then 2 through 5 are battling it out for those last 3 spots. And so it's home Central, Vicksburg, Florence, and
Lanier?
Lanier, who lost this past week, which was crazy because those guys
They were rolling.
yeah, they lost 2 straight. So football is the funnest part of the year right now. The playoffs, as they're getting here, and as we said, we're going to come back and we'll talk about some upcoming playoff games here in just a few moments. But that's just kind of some scores we wanted to throw at you, and we're coming to you live here with the North Mississippi Game Day podcast. We're at the Charter Road Hospitality, and we thank those guys here. And we're at Town Place Suites by Marriott, right off of Sisk Avenue, across from the Conference Center. So we thank them for all the opportunities that they give us to come set up here. And we talk about every time we do the show, the Gin Hotel and Spa is coming soon. It's located over off of University Avenue, kind of right behind Duke's and Sonic, if you know where that's at. And had a chance to go by there the other day, take a look, and man,
it's coming on up.
It's big.
It's coming on up, and it is very big.
Yeah. And so that'll be a fun place. Probably not going to be ready this year. Maybe ready by next football season. So if you're coming in town, watch the Rebels play, the Commodores play, the Chargers play. If you're coming in for a weekend of travel baseball out of them Trade Park, look up one of the Charter Road hospitality hotels here in Oxford and book you a stay, because it's some great places to stay.
Absolutely.
So we're going to take a time out. We'll come back and we'll preview some playoff games in the area coming up right back on North Mississippi Game Day right after this. Welcome back to North Mississippi Game Day. I'm Ronnie Williams, joined by Josh Guest. And man, what a fun show this is to do. And thank Coach Ashley for being with us a little earlier. Domino's Pizza for sponsoring our Players of the Week, which are coming up here in just a few moments. We'll give you those. And Charter Road Hospitality for allowing us the beautiful place that we get to set up here and do. And they have all the different hotels in Oxford. But hey, Friday night football is moving to Thursday night and Friday night this week. So a lot of fun going on. As you've said earlier, 5, 6, 7 going to wrap up the regular season Thursday night, with the exception of one game. I think New Hope will play on Friday night. But everything else in North Mississippi is pretty much Thursday night and 5, 6, 7, and then or Thursday night 5, 6, 7. Friday night is 1 through 4 playoffs first round. So we'll go through some games real quick and just kind of talk about South Panola 6-3 on the road at Center Hill. South Panola, I think it's wrapped up a playoff spot for sure. Clinton, number 16, travels to number 24 Madison Central, and that's a game that got a lot of playoff implications still.
It does. I mean, you're talking about Clinton is 4-5, Madison Central 5-4, and still ranked, but that's because they're in that powerhouse 7A, classification, and also not so far apart, those two schools.
Yeah, actually, they're right down there. One's on one side of Jackson, the other's kind of on the other. So, speaking of teams in close proximity, Horn Lake and Lewisburg are going to match up 6-3. Horn Lake 2-7. Lewisburg. So those two teams from DeSoto County will match up. And a big one talking about DeSoto County. DeSoto Central hosts the Tupelo Golden Wave. Tupelo coming in 9-1. DeSoto Central 7-3. And this is for first place in Region 1 7A. So
big game, and that one loss from Tupelo, the West Point.
That's right.
5A, number 1 in the state. Doing their number 1 things.
Yeah, and so that'll be a huge game on Thursday night. Tupelo and DeSoto Central. Canton 4-5 travels to Warren Central 7-2. Ridgeland 8-1. Greenville 4-5. Cleveland Central, who's a team that could be on the Commodores' radar coming up. They travel to Jackson to take on Provine, and the team you were just talking about, the number 1 team overall in the state, they may have an easy game this Friday night.
Yeah, they host the 1-8 Columbus Falcons at home for their final regular season game. Does the West Point Green Wave. So.
And then that other region in 5A that we were talking about, Vicksburg 5-3, Lanier 9-1. Holmes County Central 6-3, Florence 4-5. They match up. And interesting, the Grenada Chargers are ranked 8th, but they're 6-2. Lost 2 in a row. Lake Colbrand shocked them last week.
Yeah, and even before that, the last second kickoff return from South Panola, right? Just the week before. So, man, a couple of tough ones for Grenada there.
And Saltillo, who lost their quarterback earlier in the year. Logan Heisel, they're 3-7 on the season. Murrah 1-9 goes up to Germantown 6-3, and then a big one, Starkville at Oxford. What do they call that? The Little
Egg Bowl, yeah. Starkville 6-3, and Oxford 8-1. Oxford's got that 1 seed wrapped up there in, is that Region 2 7A? Is that what that is?
Yeah, they've already won that one. So another DeSoto County matchup, South Haven Hernando, and that wraps up Thursday night in the north half of the state. And then the lone game in 5A Friday night, New Hope and Caledonia, they're real close proximity, but record-wise, it's a lot of difference. It's a big difference.
Yes, New Hope 6-3, Caledonia 1-8, and that one win was against Columbus, right?
Yeah. So, and then we're going to get into some playoff games. At 4A, Region 2 will be Amory, who I believe is 4th place in Region 2. I'm trying to get that pulled back up.
I think that's right. Corinth was the 1 seed in Region 1, right?
Yeah, so they will have to travel to Corinth, 7-2. Greenwood goes to Senatobia. That should be a good matchup between those two teams. Greenwood 6-3, Senatobia 9-1. The 2 seed coming behind Clarksdale for Senatobia.
And Senatobia's been rolling. I mean, they're, like I said, 9-1. They took out Calhoun City, who had been rolling earlier this season, and so Senatobia getting it done, and the 2 seed there in Region 3.
So Tisch County will go to Itawamba AHS. Rosafort, the team that we talked about that hung with Clarksdale, they have to go on the road to take on the number 2 seed out of Region 4, Kosciuszko Whippets. Yazoo City will have to go to Region 3 champ Clarksdale, who's 8-1. Yazoo City's 2-6.
Yeah, Clarksdale again doing Clarksdale things.
And then to wrap up, 4A will have Houston at North Pontotoc, Ripley at Louisville, and a big game, New Albany and Shannon. That's the 3 seed New Albany against the 2 seed Shannon Red Raiders.
Both teams 7-3, so again, that's going to be probably a tightly contested game there in the playoffs.
And that's one of those only matchups you see in the whole 1A through 4A where the teams are pretty evenly matched record-wise. Mm-hmm. I don't know, I'm not going to say they're matched evenly, but record-wise they are. And speaking of record-wise, Region 2, number 4, Holly Springs Hawks 0-8 on the season. They have to go to Kossuth, the Region 1, number 1 team, and 7-2. So 0-8. 0-4 in the region, but they got in because there's only 4 teams in that region. Choctaw County 5-4 goes to Edwards 5-4, so another one of those matchups that comes up and looks pretty good on paper. And then you have Alcorn Central 2-8, Cahoma County 4-5, so 2 teams kind of the opposite of what we were talking about. Both have losing records.
Yep, and they're and Cahoma with a losing record is the 1 seed. Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I think all 4 of their wins were in region play.
Hey, well, if you're going to win 4 games, you might as well win them in region, right?
And I want to say Cahoma's in there with Holly Springs, Independence, and I'm not sure who the other one is. Yazoo City or Yazoo County, Noxubee County. Noxubee is one of those teams that year in, year out, you always hear about them in the playoffs. Aberdeen and Humphreys County, Independence and Boonville should be a good matchup. O'Bannon 5-3, the 4th seed out of Region 3 travels to Winona, the 1 seed. They're 5-4. So it's kind of fun how some of these teams have these close records, but they're winning divisions.
Yeah, one of them's a 1 seed, one's a 4 seed. But I think in Winona's case, if I remember seeing the scores right, they played a lot of bigger schools this time.
Yeah.
So they stepped up in classification when they went outside their region, maybe for every game, I don't know.
And one here that the lower seeded teams got a better record. Belmont's the 3 seed out of Region 1, traveling to North Manola, the 2 seeds, who's 5-4. So those are the kind of games that you see, you look at, and you kind of say, well, hopefully going to be a good game, and you don't know who's going to get it. In 2A, East Union and Baldwin. East Union, a baseball powerhouse, but they're 1-9 in football and traveling to 9-1 Baldwin. So Vella Jackson, North Side. Walnut travels to Water Valley, who of course, we do the radio for Lafayette, and on our sister station in Oxford is Water Valley, and they're hosting Walnut.
Yeah, 8-2 Water Valley Blue Devils, and Walnut 3-7. So.
Then you got J.Z. George 4-6 at Kemper County 3-4. Philadelphia, a team that's always been a powerhouse. You always hear about Philadelphia. They were 1-7 this year, and they're having to go talking about powerhouse. Charleston 6-2 on the season,
yeah.
And all those losses were outside of region. And but man, that's going to be a pretty good matchup. And then you've got Strayhorn 4-6 going to Hamilton, Leland 3-7 having to go to 9-1 East Webster, Hatley and Myrtle, matchup of a 6-3 Hatley and 7-2 Myrtle. And then we get into 1A, and that was Coach Ashley. That's where they're located, down in 1A. And I wanted to ask him about some of these other teams, but I didn't want to put him on the spot. One of the first games is 0-9 Ashland, another team that got in because there's only 4 teams in the region. They travel to 9-1 Bakersfield. So that, on paper, it doesn't look like
no,
a
it
big
doesn't. No,
matchup.
we'll see how that plays out.
Coffeyville 2-7 goes to West Lowndes. Thrasher and Falkner, the one that we talked with Coach Ashley about. They met earlier this year, and Falkner kind of had their way with them. Thrasher's 1-8, Faulkner's 4-5 overall, but as we said, they won all their division matchups. Okolona 4-7 at West Tallahatchie. French Camp gets the unenviable task of having to go to Calhoun City.
Yeah, and Calhoun City 8-1, and again, I think that one loss was Senatobia.
And French Camp, we've had the opportunity to go down there a few times, not for games, but for a broadcasters convention. Nice place, and they're trying to get their football program up and going. But hey, they're 0-8. They're having to travel to the number 1 team in 1A, which is Calhoun City. Potts Camp at Tupelo Christian, and Florida and LaFleur County, and then wrap it up with Smithville and Byers. So a lot of games in playoffs, and then a handful of games in 4, 5, 6, 7. So it'll be another fun Friday and Thursday. So if you like high school football, just go find you a field, go watch some football.
That's right.
It might be a little cool, but hey, it's football weather.
That's right. It's been great weather all season, and I'm sure it'll continue again. It might be a little cooler than normal, but just get you a good blanket or a good coat.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're going to be in the stands at Pontotoc. I'm going to have the little buddy heater with me just in case. Josh and I have had the opportunity to set some stands this year on away games. As the Commodore Media Group and us, we kind of hook up and they use our audio, so we set in the stands, and we'll be in the stands this Friday night at Pontotoc. And you do the weather for every game. It's kind of our deal. I tell Josh, read the weather, and so I know it's too early to predict, but it's going to be cool.
It is, but hoping for another good night. Again, we've been blessed with weather this year.
Yeah.
So threat of rain a couple times, but I don't remember it raining on us during the season. So, but it's been some incredible nights. Even when we were taking the warm weather timeouts early in the season, in Mississippi, you have to take those at 6 minutes in the quarter and all these things, and there just wasn't a whole lot of heat.
Yeah.
Not where we were playing. And so maybe North Mississippi was blessed with that for sure throughout this. It was, we'd say, crisp this last Friday night.
Yeah, and so while we're on the subject, we're going to go ahead and give away our Domino's Pizza's Players of the Game, talking about football. And Rush Watkins, the quarterback at Baldwin, 14 of 16, 252 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Sophomore quarterback down there. And so on the season, he's thrown for almost 1,700 yards, 17 touchdowns. So he's our Domino's Pizza male player of the week. And then our female player of the week, Adeline Bailey from New Albany. She's a sophomore, both of them sophomores this week. She's a sophomore golfer. New Albany, for the New Albany golf team, she won the individual girls 3A, 4A. They played together. State championship. Shot 3 over on day 1, 1 under on day 2 to win the individual championships. Back in the region tournament, she shot 4 over 76 to win individual honors. She's played in 12 tournaments this year. She's won 9, and the ones that she didn't win, she just came in second.
Oh, what was she doing? She was slacking on those 3.
Yeah. So 2 sophomores this week are Domino's Pizza Players of the Week, and man, it's just a great honor to have those.
It is, Ronnie, and you know, you're reading her scores out. I shoot 3 over and 4 over on the whole.
Yeah.
You know, much less an entire
Absolutely.
round. You know, so
Absolutely. But so those are our Domino's Pizza Players of the Week. And we come back, we'll talk a little more golf. We'll talk some cross country and swimming, and we'll wrap it up with that right here from Oxford. So we're going to take a break. We'll be back with more North Mississippi Game Day right after this. Josh Guest here, and we are in Oxford, Mississippi, Town Place Suites by Marriott here, and doing our show. Thank those Charter Road Hospitality. Thank those guys for allowing us to come in here and set up and do this every week. And we look forward to kind of moving around and doing some other hotels and different places here in town. But we were talking about playoffs and champions coming up in football. We do have some that's already been settled this year.
we do, Ronnie, and so I think we know about golf now, though, because they had a couple of different weeks of championships.
They do. I think the first week was most of the girls, and then the 5A boys, and week 2 was everybody else. So in 1A, the 1A and 2A girls played together. Lloyd Star won that by 7 shots over Tupelo Christian. Whitley Young from Tupelo Christian, she finished second. She shot 160 overall. The 1A boys, Biggersville, by 52 shots over number 2 Tupelo Christian. Eli Edmondson from Vardaman shot a 1 under to win the individual in 1A. 2A boys, Lloyd Star beat Baldwin by 2, or actually 2 over beat Baldwin by 34. Baldwin, Carter Craven shot 3 under, so he was the top finishing boy from the north. He didn't win individual, but in the 3A Presbyterian, Christian shot 616. They beat St. Patrick, and Boonville came in 5th. Langston Barker from Belmont shot a 147, was the individual medalist. And then in girls, St. Patrick shot a 340. New Albany finished 3rd. We just talked about New Albany. They finished 3rd at 347, only 7 shots back. And Adeline Bailey, she was the individual medalist. She shot a 146. The boys 4A, because 3A and 4A girls play together also. So boys 4A was won by New Albany with a 664. They won by 2 shots over Corinth. Nick Little from New Albany was the top place finisher. He finished with a 151. He was the top. He did not win the individual championship, but he was the top finisher from the north. And then 5A, which we'd already kind of talked about, East Central won boys and girls. Lafayette boys finished 5th overall, and Caledonia finished 2nd in the boys. Lafayette girls finished 5th. They were the top finishing girls team from the north, as Ainsley Everett shot a 176, and Nathan Schaffner from Caledonia was a 156 for the boys. And then in 6A, Hancock won both boys and girls. John Braxton Jones, top north finisher, he came in 2nd from South Panola. Indiana Sistrunk from South Panola, she shot a 168. And then the 7A Madison Central won over Tupelo, which we'd had Jack Morris as our player of the week earlier this year. That was over at Tunica. But this time Walker Gray, an Oxford Charger, comes away with individual championships. He shot a 2 under for the day,
That's
for the
impressive.
2 days.
That's impressive.
And he was the individual medalist. And in the girls, Northwest Rankin won by 14 over Madison Central. Kaylee Gatlin from Germantown, she was 3rd overall at 162. So that's a lot of fun when you get some of those golf season. I got to experience it for 3 years. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of travel. But congratulations to all those teams.
That's right. That's right. So, and then a lot of success in the north, a lot of success in the south as well. A lot of individual success, team success. So, good season all around there for golf.
Yeah. And so Friday night we had senior night, and so we were down on the field getting ready to walk through. And I started talking to some of the cross country guys from Lafayette, and they were on their way the next day. So Saturday was the cross country state championships, and the 7A. Hernando won the girls, Tupelo won the boys, so both two teams out of the north right there. And then Saltillo just dominated 6A boys and girls.
Saltillo, Ronnie, has been a cross-country powerhouse for a long time. They were our big rival at Lafayette. My daughter ran for a while. She is at MC now, about to graduate. And by the way, those championships are held at Choctaw Trails, which is MC's home course. It's not on campus. It's a little off campus, but beautiful facility down there. You pull in and park, and just woods everywhere, and they run all around through there, and it's got an uphill finish.
Yeah.
And so it's a sight to behold, and watching all those people compete down there. So great place down there in Choctaw Trails where this is held.
So 5A, Pontotoc won the girls cross country championship. Lafayette picks up their first ever 5A state championship in the boys.
They did, made history this year with that victory for Lafayette.
Yep.
And also Lafayette had the #1 boy finisher in the state, right?
Yeah, LaPrinzi.
Yes.
I can't remember.
Kipling LaPrinzi. Yes,
Kipling,
that's right.
yeah. And so he picks up the first ever state championship individual for Lafayette. Choctaw Central won 4A girls, while West Lauderdale won 4A boys. St. Andrews won the 3A girls. St. Patrick, the 3A boys. And then a couple more teams from the north did some damage in 2A as Myrtle picked up the win in the boys, Enterprise Clark in the girls in 2A, and then both teams in the north won 1A. Tupelo Christian Prep and Hickory Flat won the boys, Tupelo Christian Prep won the girls. And then there's another championship that was held. We talked about a couple weeks ago, we talked about one of them we knew, and the other ones we didn't know, but we want to go ahead and give you those. Warren Central in swimming. Warren Central won the Class 2 boys. West Jones and Warren Central shared the Class 2 girls as co-champions. St. Andrews won both the boys and the girls in Class 1. And as we'd already mentioned, Tupelo won the Class 3 boys, and Madison Central won the Class 3 girls. So a lot of sports are wrapping up, having their championships, and then we've got some new sports about to
We
take
sure
off.
do got some that are about to take off here for the rest of the fall semester.
So this is mostly the sports that will finish over in the spring for their championships. But the bowling season is started on October 25th. Basketball tips off this week. I think Tuesday's the first day they get the tip off for their high school season. Soccer opened last week, so a lot of soccer in the area. Wrestling opened up October 13th, and I've talked with email back and forth with the Oxford wrestling coach, and we're going to get him to come on. I keep saying wrestling like it's a Saturday morning, but it's wrestling. But we're going to get him to come on and talk about that. Powerlifting just cranked up on mid-October, and then we've got some championships. The seasons are starting to wind down, and the championships are coming up. Esports Championship, December the 9th, then dance on December the 12th, and cheer on December the 13th. So there's all kind of stuff going on. Band was just this past weekend too, I believe. So there was just a lot going on.
There he is, and I had a college buddy of mine who went over and did a little high school teaching and coaching, and won a couple of 2A state championships in bowling.
Okay.
And then actually a guy in my small group is a volunteer coach with that Oxford Charger wrestling team that you're talking about.
Okay.
Our wrestling team,
Wrestling.
if we will. Right?
Yeah, but I think wrestling's with the chairs and all that.
Yeah, that's right.
Wrestling is.
This is wrestling proper here.
That's
for
right.
this
That's
high school.
right.
That's right.
Everybody knows we used to do the Monday nights in Memphis at the Coliseum all the time back when we were in high school. But yeah, so just a lot of stuff going on, and we continually urge, and we are getting more and more people sending us information. So we'll put the Twitter down there. Follow us on YouTube, TikTok. So we're trying to get on everything we can, because we're trying to get information out for high schools. I mean, we're talking about esports. We're talking about cross country, swimming. It's not just football, baseball, basketball. We want band, we want cheer, we want it all. And we want to highlight your students. And Josh, we're still looking for some of those stories that you talk about.
That's right. That's right. An inspirational story. It doesn't have to be, Patrick Crumby talked about earlier that had the 10 touches, 8 touchdowns, 400 yards rushing. It can be somebody who worked hard, or maybe they're kind of the spark plug for their team, or maybe they're just the one that kind of motivates their team, even from the sideline, or maybe there's somebody who gives back to younger kids. We've seen some of those things going around where a softball player in the area was doing some camps with younger kids, and you got some of the Lafayette baseball boys doing some of these Field of Angels or something like that they're working with, and so been some really, really good things going on across North Mississippi with some of these athletes and these teams and these coaches. So anything like that, reach out, let us know. Be great to have and to have, like I said, just a good story about just a good kid.
Yeah, no doubt. And just like Coach Ashley said, his son, when he said, "Hey, you want to go deep?" He said, "No, I want to give it to you." I mean, something like that. It does not have to be the star guy, just somebody that does something, or the star girl, somebody that just contributes to the team in a way that you think would be a good story. So, man, another fun week.
That's right.
So we've got football Friday night as we're on the road. As we said, the Pontotoc, big matchup there, a lot of other big matchups. So anything you're looking forward to as far as the sports weekend coming up?
No, I'm glad you're bringing the heater, just in case, as we go to
bring 2 of them.
That's right, the field they affectionately call the Holla. Over there at Pontotoc, so get the chance to see the new stadium right there. Redid it, so we'll have to see what that looks like.
That's what Coach Ashley said. He and his wife took a trip over there, and he promised her he'd leave in the first quarter. He probably did. Knowing Coach Ashley, he probably stuck around for a while. But it's hard for that guy to go in over there and leave after one quarter because people want to talk to him. But we do want to thank him for driving all the way over here tonight and being with us. The Falkner head football coach. Wish him the best of luck, and everybody the best of luck this coming weekend. So, man, it's just a fun time that we're doing this, and just continue to subscribe, hit that notification button on everything, share this with people, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get the word out on the great athletes and students, academic students. So anything you got, man, we'll take as far as helping promote high school in our area. So that's going to wrap it up for this week. For Josh Guess, I'm Ronnie Williams, and we'll talk to you again with more North Mississippi Gameday.